on the Focus on You. Of course, I think it's obvious to see what our conversation is going to be about today, Oscar. What do you think? You think they
Uh, I
figured? You think they figured it out yet?
I believe so, and we are talking about gluten-free muffins.
Gluten-free muffins. That's right. I think that's the subject of today, or it could be about voting.
That would be my second guess.
I would say I would think that's what it is. Maybe it's the sign, the thing that says vote that gave it away for me. Like look, see, I'm carrying it. Ah!
That's a
Anyway,
good metaphor. Carrying the vote. Go ahead.
carrying the vote. Yeah, all right. So it's the season for voting, and we are here to talk about it. And Oscar and I are going to be representing two different sides of the opinion on voting, and it may distress you, because we know Oscar is again on the program. I don't know why he shows up, guys. I really don't. He just happens to
Because
keep
I have
keep coming.
pictures of you that you don't want made public.
No, please, please, no, no.
No.
Release the photos. Release the photos.
Oh, I'm doing it.
We want to see the taxes. Oh man. But anyway, I'm going to show a video first, and then Oscar is going to show a video, and then we're going to discuss
Well,
why it's
let's
important to vote.
tee up the videos. And full disclosure, I have not voted since Ross Perot's time because I think the system on paper looks good, but it's corrupt as hell, and we don't get the representation that we think we are voting for. Other full disclosure, I am or did in my previous time, um, I was a soccer referee, so I'm trained to dispassionately watch a game and call whatever I see as I see it, and not for the team that my daughter happened to be playing on. So I've been doing this for a while.
Okay. And I'm about voting. So that's all I got to say about that. Okay. And we are, well, my family are foreigners. We came here, and my mother and my sisters were all now citizens, and so we are all about voting, man, because it's not every country you get that. I mean, I don't think there is any country that is 100% you know good at what they do, but it is basically a good understanding that the vote here is pretty clean and clear, and your vote does count. In some places, even when you vote, it's still, it's militarized, and so you already know who's going to win because there's a couple soldiers standing out the door making sure you vote a certain way. So so it's like it's really not a vote. It's just a matter of you showing up, to like make it look like a democratic system. But I mean, we really appreciate the candidness of having the ability to vote. So and there are many people that have died for that to be a process for them to have that capability as well. So we're gonna do this show, and we're being respectful to all people on the program. Want to make sure that we clarify that, and that we just want to put out the importance of stating your voice, making your voice being heard, whether you are for or against. Let your voice be heard. Let us know why. Okay. And so if you're watching the program, put your comments in the chat. We are going to do our best to monitor that, and so that we can respond to you. But we want to talk about the vote. And so, all right, Oscar, I'm going to let you go first. Go ahead.
Oh, you go first about why it's important to vote, and
Okay.
then
All
I
right.
will rebut your great your great point of view with some facts.
Oh, well, I have facts too. So
Okay.
all my facts are going to eat your facts for lunch, man.
Well, we shall see.
It's going to put some ketchup on your facts, and it's going to swallow it whole. All right,
Should be
I'll
frightened
start
by
with
that.
mine.
Go ahead.
I know, right? Okay. All right, here we go with the first video.
You're in a conversation and someone says, "Why vote? Politics are ugly, and God is sovereign no matter who is in office." What would you say? It's true that God is always in charge. Scripture is clear that nothing can ultimately derail God's plan. But does that mean we don't need to care about what happens in government? No, and here are 3 reasons why. Number 1, freedom isn't normal. Even if you're not a political activist, you're probably thankful you live in a place like the United States rather than Venezuela or North Korea. But we often don't understand why our experience has been so much different and better than people in other parts of the world. Democracy, political rights, and civil liberties is all we've ever known, but we may forget how unusual our experience is. Most people throughout history never experienced the kind of freedom Americans enjoy today. In fact, by many estimates, the majority of people around the world do not live freely today. Those of us who were born into freedom didn't do anything to earn it. We're political trust fund babies. But even if we didn't do anything to earn our freedoms, we are responsible for what we do with them. To whom much is given, much is required. Will we leave our country as good as we found it? Can we make it even better for future generations? That leads to the second point. Number 2, governments, like everything, require maintenance. If we decide to never again mow the lawn, replace the brakes on our car, or fix the leak in our roof, God is still in charge and He will still accomplish His purpose. Still, we do those things because we don't want to live life surrounded by lawns, cars, and houses that were never maintained. That's how it works with governments as well. By educating ourselves, voting, and running for office, free people do the work necessary to maintain our freedom. Our commitment to these things does not demonstrate a lack of trust in God's sovereignty, but rather it's the way we steward what God has given us, and it's the way we show kindness to our neighbors. Which leads to the third point. Number 3, well-maintained governments make life better for everyone. Ideas are not neutral. Ideas have consequences, and bad ideas have victims. When bad ideas take root in government, people get hurt. By taking care of our government, we don't just fulfill a civic duty, we make life tangibly better for other people. Babies who would otherwise die get to live. People who would otherwise be punished for speaking the truth get to speak. Parents who would otherwise lose the right to direct the upbringing of their children get to have the final say. Communities that would otherwise be unsafe are able to thrive. Justice exists where it didn't before. These decisions are not simply a matter of taste, like vanilla or strawberry. In some cases, it could be life or death. Yes, God is in charge, and we can trust Him. But God has placed us on earth to care for the world He created, including the government. He didn't create any of us for indifference. So next time someone says it's not important to vote because God is in charge anyways, remember these 3 things. Number 1, freedom isn't normal. What we enjoy as Americans is a gift. Squandering gifts isn't trust, it's ungratefulness. Number 2, governments, like everything, require maintenance. We should vote for the same reason we mow our lawn. Things get worse if we don't. And number 3, well-maintained governments make life better for everyone. Voting isn't simply a duty, it's a chance to tangibly improve other people's lives. When we have those chances, we should take them. For What Would You Say? I'm Joseph Backholm.
All right. There it is. That's why we should vote.
And
Now-
I fully agree with number 2, the maintenance part.
Okay.
And as I've said before, and I don't know who I got it from, politicians and diapers should be changed often, and both for the same reason.
All right, I want to hear this.
Agree or disagree?
I'm ready. I'm ready. I was ready.
So, all right. So let's look at Congress that up until a few years ago was able to do insider trading. They would find out what was going on, what laws needed to be passed. They'd put in their bid for whatever stock that was going to go either up or down, and made millions because they had that insider trading. So up until recently, that was legal for them to do. It's not legal for you to do. Martha Stewart obviously went to jail for insider trading.
Right.
Yet all of Congress was able to do it for the past 1,000 years because who's checking on them?
Mm-hmm. But that's why we have
term
checks and
limits
balances, and that's why you could vote if somebody. You know, the great thing about democracy is if somebody puts a bill on the table that says, well, you know, we don't believe that's right, and we need to put a vote in, we can all write a letter to our congressman, to our senator, to whoever we voted into power to vote based on what the people want. That's how democracy is supposed to work.
That's how it should work.
That's how it should work.
That's how it should work. Now,
but if the people aren't involved, in that community effort, then it doesn't work, because now you're just leaving the people you voted in to do what they think is best.
Here's my question. How many politicians are looking out for your interests?
Well, see,
versus how many politicians are looking out for A, their interest, which is getting reelected,
mm-hmm.
and B, the interest of the oligarchs that are funding their campaigns. Because on the video I'm going to show, and why I distrust the system. So it's the only one that works right now. All right, don't get me wrong. But it needs to be maintained. It needs to be tweaked. Things
by
need
whom
to change.
Though? By whom?
By us. But here's the deal.
Of course.
Here's the deal. Are they going to listen to us when it's in their best interest not to? Like right now, Congress doesn't have term limits. So you can get in there, be in there for 50 years, and like there is no consequence. So a term limit says you have X number of years to do what you have to do.
But still, people are voted into Congress, which means that they are still public servants, and they're still, I mean, it does. It means that if, and this is the great thing is, if a majority of people get woken up to what is going on with their representative that they voted in, right? They can have, they have a voice in whether he stays in. You know, and you know, if they, that's why there's always this propaganda and this spin on words as to whether or not we're doing a good thing or not, is because I can paint, you know, you can paint anything ugly and make it look like, you know, oh, I'm doing something right. Click, here's a little
stick on a pig.
Here's a little flower in the hair, but it stinks to thy kingdom come, because it is all about what that person is getting. So I mean, I believe the only thing is, if the people don't know their voice has a value, right? Then it becomes, I'll do what's in the best interest of me. And I'm not accountable to the people, because they're not exercising their voice anyway.
All right, so let's use the example of COVID right now.
Mm-hmm.
You have individual states have individual laws. Some states are completely shut down.
Mm-hmm.
The people in those states are saying, "Hey, I have a small business. I need to be open," and they're like, "Nope, I need you to stay closed." So are those politicians looking out for what the majority of people in that state are looking for, which is to open up in any form, 25% open or whatever it is, but they're getting shut down because the politicians, I love what you said, the public servants
Mm-hmm.
have said, nope, I'm shutting this down. I'm shutting down Home Depot. When you're home doing nothing, hey, at least you can fix the house. No, we're going to shut down Home Depot. Is that in the public interest?
Well, all right, look, I'm not going to say that we have the best thinkers in the room, okay?
And
I
we
mean,
have 200 years to prove that. Yes.
I mean, like, you got to really think about that. That's sometimes it's like, but that's again, especially in this age of the internet and where it's easier to really share your opinion and your voice being heard. I'm just monitoring our Facebook. It is important for us to really exercise our voices because at least right now we can talk about it like we're talking about it now.
Right.
In some countries, this is not even possible.
Oh, no.
Right. And in fact, in some countries, people still get arrested for this.
People get disappeared.
Right. I mean, not like people don't disappear in America, but it's like, you still have a capability of sharing and putting your voice out there. And the more people that put their voice out is the stronger of a response you're going to get from your government. Right.
That's the way it works on paper. Again, I keep saying that because I'll show a video in a second, but let me put this to you. I just got elected to whatever office.
Mm-hmm.
What is my number one job?
I know. Notice the word elected, right?
Elected. All right. What is my number one job? I got elected by the majority of the people in my state.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say I'm a senator and I'm up for re-election in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
What is my number one job as soon as I get elected?
To serve the people.
That's B. Well, actually, that's C. A would be get reelected. So I'm going to start looking for funding for my election campaign that's going to cost in the tens of millions of dollars. Wow. So I get it day one. I'm looking to get reelected because this is a pretty good gig.
Right.
Right. Mm-hmm. B, since I'm looking to get reelected, I'm looking for funding.
Okay.
So I'm going to look to Phil, who's got a TV show, got a whole bunch of money that he can move around. And I'll go up to Phil and say, Phil, listen, I need to get reelected. I need your money to be reelected. Is there anything I can do for you? And Phil comes back and says, well, there's this law coming up that's really going to really cut down on the number of viewers that I can have. What can you do for me?
So so basically what you're saying is, and this is what I'm hearing. What I'm hearing is that the answer to that would be defunding politicians versus,
big money out of politics is job one. Term limits is job two. So
now, here's the thing. All right. So in order for anything to run, you need something green. Yeah. You need something green with a dead president on it because you got to pay for advertising. You got to pay to get the word out. There is cost to running for office.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we're both entrepreneurs. We're in business. So there's cost to doing business. So that's totally understood. And people have to live. So, you got to pay your bills. You got to pay, so those are things that are understood. Right. It's the $1,000 toilet seat that we're trying to figure out.
Well, here's my point. At what point does my seeking money from you and writing laws that benefit you that might not benefit your neighbor?
Mm-hmm.
It's like this law is going to pass because your industry needs to get X amount of pollution out into the river. That if the law passed the other way, you're not going to be able to do that. You're going to lose money. Whatever it is, your business is going to be hampered. And I say to you, if you drop an envelope with with some Benjamins on my desk, I might be able to pass a law in your favor. You have that option to do that with the corruption that we have, because I need my campaign funded next year.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the problem is. I'm gonna run a quick video from a site called Represent Us.
I want to make a quick comment on the
Sure.
last video too before we move on to your video, and that is for all the faith-based folks that are listening and watching. Yes, I mean, I love what the video said. Because God is in control. Yes, He is. There's no doubt about that. Just having the ability to have a voice is a God-given gift, and you have to use it.
The way I look at it is God is moving the car. You got to steer it. You can't just say, I'm going to hit the gas and let God drive. Like, no. You got to steer it. He's moving it. You just got to.
I like that.
If it's going towards a tree, it's up to you to go, yeah, I got to get away from that tree.
I got to get away from that tree. Exactly. All right, go ahead. Show your video out.
All right, let me do this. Let me share the screen. I'll go up there. Share. Let's see if this works. Get this bigger. Much bigger. Play.
Yeah.
Play. There we go.
For the last few years, I've had this sense that everything.
Turn up the volume.
Can you hear it?
It's too low.
But I had no idea how bad things actually were until I saw this one graph. Researchers at Princeton University looked at more than 20 years worth of data to answer a pretty simple question. Does the government represent the people?
It's too low. I can't hear it.
This axis here represents public support for any given idea. On the left at 0% are ideas that not a single American wants. On the right at 100% are ideas that everyone supports. This axis represents the likelihood of Congress passing a law that reflects any of these ideas.
Start over, yep.
For the last few years, I've had this sense that everything I learned as a kid about how America's government works is completely wrong. But I had no idea how bad things actually were until I saw this one graph. Researchers at Princeton University looked at more than 20 years worth of data to answer a pretty simple question. Does the government represent the people? Now, this is what they found. This axis here represents public support for any given idea. On the left at 0% are ideas that not a single American wants. On the right at 100% are ideas that everyone supports. This axis represents the likelihood of Congress passing a law that reflects any of these ideas, from a 0 to a 100% chance. On this graph, an ideal republic would look like this. If 50% of the public supports an idea, there's a 50% chance of it becoming law. If 80% of us support something, there's an 80% chance. You get the idea. Now, most Americans would probably agree that, with a few exceptions, we should be as close to this ideal as possible. Unfortunately, the way America actually works doesn't even come close. Take an idea that nobody supports, literally nobody, and it has about a 30% chance of becoming federal law. Now, take an incredibly popular idea, the most popular idea this country has ever seen, and there's also about a 30% chance of it becoming law. This means that the number of American voters for or against any idea has no impact on the likelihood that Congress will make it law. Put another way, and I'm just going to quote the Princeton study directly here, the preferences of the average American appear to have only a minuscule, near zero, statistically non-significant impact upon public policy. So if you've ever felt like your opinion doesn't matter and that the government doesn't really care what you think, well, you're right. But there's a catch. This flat line only accounts for the bottom 90% of income earners in America. Economic elites, business interests, people who can afford lobbyists, they get their own line. Look at how much closer their line is to the ideal. When they want something, the government is much more likely to do it. And when they don't, they have the power to completely block it from happening, no matter how much the rest of the country supports it. They get what they want, and guess who ends up paying for it? We pay for it with the most expensive healthcare in the world, We pay for it with a tax code that's a complete mess. We pay for it with internet that's slower and more expensive, with wasteful spending, a floundering education system, a catastrophic drug war, and 1 in 5 American children born into poverty. Almost every major issue we face as a nation can be traced back to this graph. How does this happen? Well, just follow the money. Right now, it's perfectly legal to buy political influence in America. Here's how it works. Let's say a big bank wants a law that would force taxpayers to bail them out again if they repeat the exact same reckless behavior that crashed the global economy in 2008. Not exactly the most popular idea with the public, and Congress knows that. That should be the end of it. But that's where the money comes in. It's perfectly legal for our bank to hire a team of lobbyists whose entire job is to make sure that the government gives the bank what it wants. Then those lobbyists can track down members of Congress who regulate banks and help raise a ton of money for their re-election campaigns. It's perfectly legal for those lobbyists to offer those same politicians million-dollar jobs at their lobbying firm. Then, those lobbyists can literally write the language of this new bailout law themselves and hand it off to the politician they just buttered up with campaign money and lucrative job offers. And it's perfectly legal for those politicians to take the lobbyist-written language and sneak it through Congress at the last second. So now you've got a law that greatly benefits the banks, and the whole process can start over. This is how a bill becomes a law. A special interest hires some lobbyists, those lobbyists collect campaign contributions, offer jobs, and then write the laws that Congress then passes to help those same special interests. This happens every day on every single issue with politicians of both parties. In the last 5 years alone, the 200 most politically active companies in the United States spent $5.8 billion influencing your government. Those same companies got $4.4 trillion in taxpayer support. And that's trillion, with a T. And that's just the top 200 companies. Never mind every other special interest, every union, every trade association, and every billionaire. Every single one of them can use their money to buy political influence. You know, there's this idea out there that this only became a problem after the Supreme Court's Citizens United decision in 2010. But the data goes back almost 40 years, and the results are clear. Corruption is legal in America. And as long as it is, anyone who can spend money to buy political influence will. The solution here isn't rocket science. Make corruption illegal. We already know Congress won't do it. I mean, one look at this chart will tell you that. What we need is a plan that lets us go around Congress and do what the American people do best. Fix this mess ourselves. Well, good news. We have that plan and it's already working. Now that we've got the problem covered, let us show you how to be part of the solution.
Okay.
So that is the basis of, hold on 1 second, let me get rid of this because the next video is going to start up.
No, it's okay. You're not sharing it, so it's good. Now look at this. Look at this. Look at this, right? Again, we already know the 1% has the ability to influence our government. That's a given. He who hath the money, you know.
It's the golden rule. He who has the gold makes the rules.
Makes the rules, right. So, I mean, the great thing about our society is everyone has an opportunity to get to that place of influence, right? Why don't we support, this is my cue here now, why don't we support small businesses to be able to support the people we want to see and influence the government in the way we want them to be influenced? Because here's the thing.
I would love a third party candidate that comes from business, not huge business, but comes from the small business, the local business background, and get that person. You imagine, you're in New Jersey, you have a business, you run for office, and not going to take money from lobbyists. That's the person you should be voting for. It's like, hey, I came from this community. I'm working in this community. I represent this community. How can I help you in Washington? But we
here's
don't
the- all right.
get that. That's the
No,
problem.
but look at it. Look at it. It's big dog, little dog. Right? If you got two dogs in a yard, right? And you got big dog and little dog. Now one is a Chihuahua and one's a Doberman, right? Let's say government now is the Doberman, and you got small business Chihuahua, right? Now, when it comes to eating food, the big dog gets there first. Chihuahua go, "Arr!" you know, it don't matter. Big dog gets there first. So it's like what we need to do is replace the Chihuahua, with a bigger dog.
Or get rid of the bigger dog. Vote out the bigger dog.
See, here's the thing though. Here's the thing. It's capitalism is all about competition.
Right. Well,
right. Which makes capitalism capitalism.
Laissez-faire is fair competition, but you don't have fair competition where you're coming up against a third party candidate who's getting grassroots money, $5, $10, $15 at a time, with an entrenched government bureaucrat that is getting tens of millions of dollars from big business. How do you compete? How do you get that big dog down?
What if there was a system in place that pulls small businesses together as one force? Right? Think about that.
Do we have that?
Do we have that? Yes, we do.
And what that is called?
Phoenix National Business Group.
A shameless plug for
shameless. It's a shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you. You know.
All right. Can we use the Phoenix National Network as a platform to get small businesses and part of it would be, who is your representative? What would you like to see changed? And who would be a good replacement for that representative if they are basically, just signing bills that these big companies are slipping in, as the video showed.
Well, here's the thing. The thing is that the problem, I'll tell you what, the problem is there's always a shark in the tank. Mm-hmm. Right. And that's the mindset that can't exist. And if small businesses were meant to come together and to be able to create that bigger voice, right, and that create that bigger support for whomever has the moral standard that is being sought out after, right? That candidate that is a nobody, we can say, here's like $12 billion. Go win us an office, right? If all small businesses were able to say, you know what, I can be a part of a team, right? I can work together with other businesses without somebody wanting to, I need to be the primo supremo, right? Yeah, no, let's pull together. Let's help each other build our business. The thing is, I believe that there's not too many people out there that have that mindset, because it's like, I'm in this, I want to make money. But you need other people to make money. Money comes from people.
I just joined the the local chamber of commerce. Mm-hmm. There's a new president coming in. I'm going to be on the board of that chamber. And one of the things that we do as a chamber is have that critical mass of businesses to speak to the local representative. That's the reason for joining the local chamber. One of the things the chamber did was get restaurants the ability to take over parking spots and extend their outdoor seating out into the street. Wow. And that was done through the chamber, not from Joe's restaurant on the corner. Say, hey, you got me closed down inside. I need to put some outdoor seating. And the local government said, no, we need those parking spots. And the argument was, well, no one's going to park there because there's nowhere to go. The stores are closed, so you're not going to be able to park there.
And there
So
will be it will be a business graveyard in a minute
right.
if they don't get to start up. Yeah.
So Joe on his own wasn't able to do that, but through the chamber, because the chamber, each of our chamber meetings has a local representative from our government there.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things I'm going to bring up at the next chamber meeting is how do we get better representation for small business, or what I call local business, into our local government? How do we get that foot in the door and say, hey, we need A, B, and C, and if you like to get reelected, we would like you to be the point person on that.
The voice for that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the way. It's a we're in a representative republic. It's a democratic republic.
Yeah.
So it's not what people fail to realize is we're not a democracy. Democracy, as the Greeks called it, was mob rule. So if you get X number of people voting in your, for you, then that's going to make the rule. That's also why we have the Electoral College. Otherwise, no one would be campaigning in Middle America. You'd campaign in California, Chicago, New York, and Florida. All right. So that's 45 states that are just flyover states.
Right.
Now we have more people in those major, not even the states, in those cities. There are more people in those cities than live in the entire. Just take Los Angeles. The population of Los Angeles is bigger than the population of 6 states in the union.
Wow.
So just Los Angeles voting, if it was a true democracy, would cancel out every single vote from those 6 states.
Got it.
That's why the Electoral College was put in, so everyone gets a voice. Otherwise, it's just New York. What does New York, Chicago, and California want? Okay, good. That's what we're going to do.
Right. Understood. So you know what though? Look, there's always going to be a majority thing going on, but here the main message of our program is that you need to make a decision and make your voice be heard on that, because your voice is important. You have your mind, your opinion counts. Your voice counts. And so we want to encourage everyone that is watching, everyone that's paying attention to our program, to make your voice count, make your vote count. And we appreciate.
And how do we do that? We do that.
Go ahead.
Do that with really looking at the candidates and see what they've done in the past, what they claim they're going to do in the future. And if those two match up, then we're good to go.
That's it.
But if you're going to come around every 4 years saying, I promise you the world, and then as soon as you get elected, like 99% of they just go back to their nice little comfortable.
They revert. Right. Yeah, exactly. And so you look at
make
the
your voice
character,
count with really good candidate.
Yeah, look at the character of the person, look at their record, look at what they have done in the past. Again, chances are if they're over 70 and they've done stuff in the past, is not going to change.
Not changing those leopard spots.
No, it's really hard to teach an old dog new tricks. So look at that and then make your decision and follow the plan. Every state has a different plan right now as far as how voting goes. I just saw in the news that some people have to drive 50 miles to get to a ballot box. Yeah. 50 miles nuts. To get to a ballot box. That should never be the case, because
I've driven 7 miles to get to a White Castle.
Yeah.
I needed that burger, but well, listen, we have mail-in voting. We have absentee ballots. It's been around, since the beginning of time.
Yeah, but again, there's that the doubts that are being created around those things that are basic traditional ways of people voting. The military votes by mail.
Right, but we have to make a difference. The distinction is absentee ballot versus mail-in ballot without asking for it. There is that the check and balance is if you want to vote because you don't want to leave the house, ask for your absentee ballot, fill it out, mail it in, as opposed to what they're doing with mailing ballots to everyone, whether or not they want to vote. How do you know those ballots are going to the right people?
Well, no, they're not mailing it to everyone.
The rolls in California, they're just sending out ballots to every eligible voter, not counting on the fact that they haven't reviewed the voting records or eligibility in 10 years. How many people moved out of state? How many people died?
I mean, that would have to, well, I mean, that's if people are dead, they're
it just takes them longer to vote when they're dead.
I mean,
that's Chicago style voting.
You know, like, I mean, that right there is like, yeah, but they dead, so their vote doesn't count. Dead man can't vote. Dead man can't vote. Okay.
Well, what was it? Even in the regular voting, there was, I forgot what voting district had, let's say, 10,000 people in their district that were registered voters, and they ended up with 15,000 votes. It's like that's 5,000 people more than could actually vote. Who are those people?
Wow.
How did their vote get in there? Now there are videos of I forgot, I wish I remember the name, with even voting machines that are corrupted. And one of the guys that had the scene was they went into this place that have the voting machines, you know, locked up, and they said these voting machines are corrupted. And the guy says there's no way, and they did a test and found out that some votes didn't count. As a matter of fact, way back, if you remember when Al Gore was running in Florida, there was
the hanging chads.
Even before that, there was a voting place that lost power 1 hour into the vote. So those machines went down after an hour, and they found out when they voted, when they tallied those machines, there was a negative number in there. So that machine was already programmed, let's say 300 negative votes. So you needed 300 votes just to get to zero to count your first vote. So the corruption is all around, and there's so many ways, and it's not getting easier to find. I got to find that movie. I'll find the video on that.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, all of these things that are hindrances. All these things are hindrances to exercising the true liberties that are available. And so the point is that it is available. It does exist. It is just a matter of now you got to cut through all the mess to get to it. And that's why it's so important for people to do your research, know what your plan is, you know, and execute. Okay, there's so much smoke and mirrors out there. You really have to dig through, do your homework, and get your vote in. No matter what it is, make your vote count, follow through, follow up, and let them hear what you have to say. Let them know how you feel about your government, your society, your community, and put yourself out there. That's what I love about America. That's why we moved to America. Okay.
Me too.
Immigrants, and all that. We are a community, a country of immigrants. Okay. And so there's nobody you can ask where and said, oh yeah, you know, my family's, you know, family tree started here. You know, we all came from somewhere else. So let's all learn to live together, learn to love one another, and work together as a community to make our environment better. That's what America is about. That's what the idea of America is about. And so we need to, it's only the people can make that idea work. Only the people can make that idea. It's time to kind of brush away that pretense of it working and actually make it work.
Just hold these bastards accountable for what they said they're going to do.
That's all it is. That's all it is, my friend. So thank you guys for watching again. This is Phil and Oscar. Of course, I'm the functional one and he is the dysfunctional one. Or is it the other way around? I'm not sure anymore. Because he's affecting my mind. Can't you see he's affecting my mind? So get out of my head, Oscar. But we appreciate everybody watching.
Yeah, if you guys agree or disagree with us, put comments down. We'd like to answer.
Yep, there you go. Absolutely. We'd love to hear what you have to say. So take care, everyone. Please keep in mind that I forgot to do this last time. Keep in mind that we have the O'Neill Effect coming up on Saturday, this Saturday at 8 a.m. We have the O'Neill Effect. We have a new program coming out called The Bros. They're going to be coming out in the morning. Yeah, that's going to be our sports segment, Oscar.
Oh, leave me out.
About voting and sports and all the
leave me out of sports.
Yeah, so The Bros is going to be on a Saturday morning. Keep an eye out for that. We have some great programs being developed just for you. And this month, by the end of this month, if you have Roku, if you've already bought a Roku system, our channel will be active by the end of this month. So you'll be able to watch some of our programs. We're going to have movies on there. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. And local entertainment. We're going to have some comedians on there. We'll have musicians. If you are a musician, if you're a comedian, whatever your trade is.
And if you're a comedian musician, you get 2 spots.
Yeah, exactly. Chefs, we have a category for we have a chef programming lineup. So we need to hear from everyone. And if you have a Roku system, please go on and let us be one of the channels that you watch. All
Better
right,
than
everyone.
Government, you can participate.
Yeah, you can participate. You could be a program. You could be on one of our programs as well. So we want to thank everyone again for watching, and everyone take care. Enjoy the rest of your day.